I'm David Jacoby. We are Jalen and Jacoby. Tell the people what it is we do.
We give the people what they want.
Joining us later on in the show, O'Shea Jackson, better known as Ice Cube, will get his thoughts on the NBA Finals, the Lakers offseason, and much more. But Jalen, we start with tonight's game. It is game 2 between the Suns and the Bucks. The Bucks looking to even the series at 1-1. The Suns impressed in game 1. What adjustments do the Bucks need to make to take game 2?
Wow, that's an important question, David Jacoby. You're going straight for the jugular with that one. The Bucks must do a better job of getting points in the paint. Layups and dunks by Giannis. Post-ups and jump hooks by Lopez. Post moves by Bobby Portis. I want to tell you guys the secret. Sarge is going to be out for the series. He has a knee injury. DeAndre Ayton has been fantastic this postseason. It's been a coming out party. But you know who their backup center is? Frank Kaminsky. You got to find a way to get DeAndre Ayton in foul trouble. You have to continue to attack him. You got to continue to make him work. And also, where's Jrue Holiday? You know how much I'm a fan of his game, and I know that's one of your favorite players. He's going to bring defense, and you pay attention to both ends of the floor. I don't. He's going to get assists. That's awesome. But you know what they're going to need? His points. The big three of Phoenix had 81 in game 1. They're going to need Jrue Holiday to score the ball. And for anybody out there that's saying, oh, Giannis is back, that's going to affect his productivity. No, it's not. No, it's not at all. They can do actions together. He can do one-on-one actions on either side of the floor. He has a post game for his size. He just has to be aggressive. Those have to be the adjustments. Points in the paint for the Bucks and aggression by Jrue Holiday.
Jalen, you brought up a really good point that I think is going over a lot of people's heads. Dario Saric is no longer available. Now, Dario Saric is not a huge household name, but he is a contributor for this team, and he's not going to be available for the rest of the series, and that could impact them. And when you talk about getting Ayton in foul trouble, that's what I thought that Jokic would do. That's what I thought that Giannis Lopez would do. He, for a young player, does a really good job of not getting in foul trouble. But again, if they can get him off the floor, you're going to see a lot of Frank Kaminsky. And if you get him off the floor, you don't have that roll man that he's really turned into in his professional career. And when we're talking about the pick and roll, that to me is one of the biggest adjustments. When you look at the numbers of how the Bucks have guarded the pick and roll, whether or not they have dropped or whether or not they have switched, it seems like the more they switch, the more they get cooked when you look at the numbers. And again, Chris Paul is playing with his food in this pick and roll. He kind of just gets whatever he wants to wherever he wants, specifically that elbow jump shot that he loved, his little pet shot. He's been hitting threes in game 1, but you made a good point yesterday. You know I don't like to compliment you. You got to turn him into somebody that finishes at the rim. You got to turn Chris Paul into somebody who finishes at the rim, because he'll stop at the elbow and he'll shoot that step back easily. But if you turn him into that, that's going to be effective. One of the stories of game 1 was how many times the Suns got to the line at home. Coach Bud talked about that. Let's listen to the coach of the Milwaukee Bucks.
I mean, it's a huge part of the game. You know, they have 25 points from the free throw line. You know, we're a team that prides ourselves in defending and being able to be good defensively without fouling. I can't remember the last time a team got 25 free throws in a game against the Bucks.
It was actually 26. They hit 25 free throws, only missed one at the very end of the game. Jalen, what do you think about Coach Bud's words?
I'm going to quote Uncle Chuck D. And by the way, Ice Cube is joining us. And do you realize the Bomb Squad and he produced Ice Cube's first album, America's Most Wanted? So what Coach Bud is describing, you see so many analysts like yourself, Jacoby, that are talking about how pick and roll coverage is being instituted, whether they're switching or whether they're dropping. Let me give you the B side of that. The B side of that is they do that to not send the team to the free throw line. That's the whole goal. See, most people are only paying attention to the ball handlers, either points from 3 or from mid-range. But you're underestimating the reason why they're playing that coverage is to save the big from being out on the floor and getting taken advantage of so he can do what I said. Do damage in the paint offensively, number one. Number two, not send them to the free throw line. That's why he's speaking out about it. And you alluded to something that's really important. You told me that Chris Paul was 36, right?
Yep.
Let me tell you what happens when you get old and you're playing basketball. Two things you don't want to do: drive and be athletic and finish at the hoop in traffic. And the other thing is fall on the floor. Those are two things you don't want to do. Trust me. And in all of these highlights, you're not seeing Chris Paul either have to drive to the hoop or fall on the floor. And Bobby Portis, let me teach you something. There's a term at the park, Jacoby, you're going to love this. It's called you reach, I teach. Mm-hmm. Who taught you that you was going to be at the three-point line and you was going to rip CP3?
Slapping the floor, like up in his pocket,
let
30 feet from the basket.
Let me give y'all some inside basketball, okay? Bobby Portis will never rip Chris Paul. Don't be out there reaching, dog. He reached like 3 or 4 times. Play solid, get in his hip pocket, and usher him to the basket and make him a passer. If you haven't noticed, Chris Paul has scored the most points in back-to-back games in the history of his career. He smells it right now. He's like, wait a minute, I'm in the finals? Like, I'm in the finals? I'm shooting this thing. So if you're the Phoenix Suns, that's exactly what you have to do. Keep Chris Paul aggressive, but if you're the Bucks, you gotta make him do something different in game 2.
Mm-hmm. And as always, we're going to talk about the big three for each team. But if the Bucks could get a couple key threes from Bryn Forbes, get a Connaughton three, he showed up a couple times, maybe get a couple bucks from Bobby Portis. They need those others to contribute as well if they're going to game 2. But Jalen, during game 1, I noticed something that was the most important thing that happened during the broadcast. And it was these words from your former teammate, Mark Jackson.
My guy at lunch today said if he had to live it all over again, guess what he would be? A rapper. Jeff Van Gundy started spitting a freestyle at lunch with me. I don't even want to know.
No, you don't.
Why is no one covering this? Why is no one covering the fact that Jeff Van Gundy was freestyling at lunch? I want to get these Jeff Van Gundy bars. Jalen, you're in Phoenix. Can you talk to him about this? Can we get him on wax spitting the hot fire from Jeff Van Gundy?
David Jacoby, when the pandemic started and people needed to work from their homes via Zoom, everybody started to make sure they paid attention to their backgrounds. Look over your shoulder. I see Mike Tyson. I see Larry Bird. Oh, look over my shoulder. I see a Jada Kiss bus. I see the Ali Summit. We've been 10 toes down for the culture. So in other words, that's why we're covering it. And of course, Mark Jackson, who was raised in Queens and loved Run DMC growing up, and Jeff Van Gundy, who coached in Houston, who coached in New York, has bars. I like the fact that he's reinventing himself as an announcer. I played against him as a coach. Remember that. I played against Jeff Van Gundy as a coach. And you know what he was? One word, unhappy. He was just unhappy. And now all of a sudden in the media, he's reinvented himself. He has great
freestyles at lunch.
I love those guys so much. And you know what I like about those guys? Unlike most dynamic duels that you and I represent in this game, most dynamic duels in this game were put together by the label. You know what I'm saying? We're put together by the network. You'll see Jalen and Jacoby front row at the Nets game. You see us champagning and campaigning together. And as a matter of fact, I ain't gonna even start telling y'all where we met. That we'll do that on the podcast.
Jalen, what are you doing? It's time to show me some Shohei. This is the most exciting thing that has happened in baseball for decades. Shohei Ohtani hit another home run. He hit 32 home runs before the All-Star break. Oh, and he's also one of the best pitchers in the game. Jalen Rose, he will be the #1 seed in the home run derby in Coors Field where the ball flies. What sort of a show do you expect Shohei to put on?
Heat up, weed up, bring it back. Come rewind. So as the world starts to recognize the greatness that is Shohei, we didn't just invent that graphic today. We've had it the entire season because let me tell you something about Jalen and Jacoby and our staff. We pay attention to all-time greatness, and we saw a guy that's doing things that only Babe Ruth has done in baseball. He's hitting home runs, he's striking out people, and he's an immaculate left-handed swing. You know, as a lefty, I appreciate that no wasted motion type of effortlessly power swing. Like if you notice Jacoby, he's a guy, unlike Mark McGwire, unlike Sammy Sosa, right? He's not necessarily looked at as doing it because he's so powerful or because he's so bulky. He has the most home runs already in the season by a Japanese-born player. I can't wait till the NBA Finals end. I'm going to go on the Shohei.
I love that. You know, I can't front. I want to see him win a championship. So it's the Suns right now on mine.
Thank you for joining the show, Don Mega. And I'm not going to front for our audience. Ice Cube is one of the legends, the OGs that have taken me under their wings, have been one of my mentors in the game since day one. I'm forever grateful for you. And I know this has been a tough offseason for you because the Lakers got bounced in the first round. So what the Lakers got to do to put themselves in position to get back to the NBA Finals?
You know, Jalen, it's hard to play with rings on your hand. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, they got to just take them rings off and put them away and not try to play in those. You know, you can't win them all,
Great point.
Jalen. You know what I'm saying? You can't win them all. We won, won the championship last year. LeBron did what he said he was supposed to, what he said he was gonna do, and they won the ring. This year, injuries, they came back pretty quick, from going all the way. I think it was a 60-day layoff. And Space Jam 2 is coming out, man. You want to do that Hollywood thing, man. Ain't got time to be in the finals.
Gotta promote the movie.
Gotta promote the movie, baby.
Now, Cube, do you think if the Lakers were healthy, they would have just ran through these playoffs?
I don't know about that, but I think they would have went deep. Probably would have went back to back. We got bit by the injury bug. Probably should have kept Dwight or Rondo, one of those. But we'll be back. Don't worry about nothing, man. Don't worry about what's going on in Laker Town, man.
Cube, you're so diverse and such a legend. I'm just excited to talk to you about another sport. The NFL, the Raiders, they moved to Las Vegas. What are your expectations of your squad?
Oh, they're going to have fun in Vegas. You know what I mean? It's a great town, great crowd. We've seen this, the sports town, how they act for the Golden Knights. And so, they're going to come out for the Raiders the same way and have a ball. They go together like peanut butter and jelly.
What you have done with the Big Three has been so impressive for such a young league being so popular and so impactful. The Big Three returns this weekend. What can we expect to be different from last season to this season?
Well, you're going to know more names in the Big Three than you know in the NBA Finals, I tell you that. These are guys
That's a great point. Well said, I like that.
We got household names, from Swaggy P to Joe Johnson, Nate Robinson, so we got it all. It's going to be great. We on CBS Saturday morning, wake up with us. Then we on Triller and Fight TV. Hey, man, we're going to have a ball this season. Guys are going at it. And if you make it to the playoffs, it's in the Bahamas. So that's a great incentive. The winning teams make more than the losing teams this year. So they're going to be fighting for their life out there.
So, Q, I applaud the retired players who decide to join the big three because they want to be in shape, they want to be physical, and they're not lazy like me because I'm lazy. So what can fans expect when they show up to a big three event?
Well, what you won't see is a retired player. You'll see a player that's good to go, ready to go. You know what I mean? These are players, they play all over the world. The NBA ain't got it on lock. You know what I mean? These dudes are athletes at the highest level, playing 3-on-3 at the highest level. So what you're going to see is dudes battling. You know how it go when dudes play 3-on-3. Nowhere to hide. You can't be a specialist. You can't just have one skill set. You got to have it all or you're going to get exposed in the big three. And that's just it. And the president told you, if you ain't watching the big three, you ain't black. So check out the big three.
We're excited for the big three. We're also excited for an upcoming album from Mount Westmore. We've had every member of Mount Westmore on the show. What can you tell us about this project?
It's epic. You know, when you get 4 legendary artists together working on a project, you know, the project is what it's supposed to be. You know, we setting it up right. We got so many opportunities coming at us. We just got to make sure we set everything up right. You know, we don't want to rush to perfection. So we just going to drop it on y'all. It's coming. It's coming. You know, we getting cocked and loaded.
Well, as always, we appreciate you joining the show. And as one of the immortals that sit on the wall as Doughboy every day, you know we forever grateful for your influence. Shout to my brother Kibo. Shout to brother Ron. I'll see y'all at the big three. Thank you for joining us, Don Mega.
Yeah, man. Much love and respect.
We'll be back with much more right after this on Jalen and Jacoby.
Got to give the people